Okay, this video is gonna be quite the special one for me. Not only because this is the first time I'm gonna talk about the amazing digital circus on this channel, but also because I'm gonna give my critique on the last episode of this series. So if you haven't watched it, please do so. This video will contain spoilers. With that being said, what did I think about the finale? Well, honestly, it's kinda hard to say. At the same time, I loved quite a few moments in this episode. There were others that I didn't really like. I guess I will start with the ones I didn't like so we can end the video on a positive note with the moments I liked. So, after the characters find out that they are copies of their real selves, and because of that they can't leave the digital circus, and Jax just abstracts off screen, which yes, I am gonna talk about this later, we have a few scenes with Pomni, Ragata, Zubo, and Gengo sharing their feelings about the situation with each other. The thing is, these scenes are supposed to be emotional, but they didn't hit me emotionally as much as I think they were supposed to. The only moment in these scenes that really hit me was when Ragata and Pomni hugged, but other than that, these parts felt a bit weak to me. The dialogue that is supposed to be emotional felt a bit superficial. I think that's because the characters sometimes use a lot of the same emotional phrases we have heard a million times before. Not just in previous episodes of this show, but in other media and in real life. Phrases like, "Oh, we can do this together. You know, you are my best friend. It's my fault." You get the point. Now, I know that you can take something that's been used a lot and still make it feel unique in some way, but the way it was done here definitely felt a bit weak to me personally. Maybe I didn't get immersed enough with these moments, or maybe, and more possibly, they didn't have a proper build-up for them to work as effectively. But yeah, that's just how I feel about some of these moments. Now, the Jax abstraction. Oh my god. That moment felt so confusing and almost comedic. The dry cut between Jax being, alive and then just being abstracted was ridiculous to me. Like, it was obvious that something like this was gonna happen, but the way it did was definitely anticlimactic. It would have been much better if we at least saw a little bit of Jax in the process of being abstracted from the point of view of Pomni. I feel like if the scene was done like that, not only would we have seen how a character looks during the abstraction, but would also make this moment, and especially the moments that I mentioned before, hit even harder. But instead, we just get this awkward scene. Another thing that was disappointing was the various plot points that were either barely explained or not explained at all. One of them being the Scratch character. You know, the programmer that had the brain tumor and created the neural scans so he can live through the game. The guy that pretty much started this whole drama. Yeah, he doesn't get one single line of dialogue. Literally. He just appears for a couple of seconds in flashbacks and that's it. Like, why not explore this guy? He's one of the most important characters of the entire show, yet he doesn't get one line. But he's not the only one treated like this. The blue AI also gets presented as this big thing at the start of episode 8, but then it gets literally thrown away by Kane in episode 9. Like, I was expecting this blue AI to have a major role in this last act, but I guess you could say that the thing that was making Kane go crazy was this second AI. But it's never really clear if it was Kane himself going cuckoo or if the other AI had influenced him to act the way he did. And what about Ribbit and Kaufmo? They also appear in this episode. They have lines, but they only get somewhat developed through Jax's memories, which also means they serve more to the development of Jax than for themselves. We also don't really see Ribbit or Kaufmo interacting with the other members of the circus, which would have been really nice. Another plot point that isn't explained at all is how did Kane survive being deleted? And why did he get sent to the Void? And what is the Void? Well, I guess we'll never know because the show does not elaborate in any of these things. They just happen and that's it. Oh, and I almost forgot. How the freak the computer that powers this game is still on? I mean, isn't CNA abandoned? How is there still power in the building? And who's keeping the power on? Those are honestly the most interesting questions I had for the show, along with how did Kinger start forgetting about things and only getting his memory back when staying in the dark. Unfortunately, there is no answers for any of these things either. With all of this in mind, it's clear to me that this show needed a couple of episodes to clear most of these plot points. Maybe 3 or 2 more would have concluded the story better. I understand that a good story usually leaves a couple of questions left unanswered, but these questions often don't render the main story. They could add a bit to the world, but it's mostly nothing big. Unlike Digital Circus, where a lot of seemingly important things are left either undeveloped or not developed at all. And that's pretty much it for the things I didn't like. Now let's go to the positive stuff. First of all, the scenes with Pomni and Kinger, like always, are just heartwarming. The way Kinger motivates Pomni gives me so much good dad vibes. I mean, come on, Kinger's the GOAT. Pretty much every scene that he's in is great, either when he doesn't have his memories or when he does. There's also the scene that I mentioned before where Pomni and Ragata hug after comforting each other about the situation. This moment genuinely almost made me shed a tear. The only reason why I didn't was because I holded it in. The music and the camera angles really helped this moment hit as hard as it could. And even if I didn't really like the moments before, I still really like these two characters. So when this hug happens, I just remember everything that these two went through and what they're willing to go through together. And that just makes me emotional, man. What can I say? The section inside Jax's mind is also really good. The conversation between Jax and Ribbit, where we finally get to hear Jax talk about how his life really was, and the moment where Pomni finds the real Jax and tries to help him get over his trauma, is just freaking heart-wrenching, man. And I think part of it is because me, and I'm pretty sure other people, can connect to the character of Jax. More specifically to some of his insecurities of always being strong and never being vulnerable, and obsessions over thinking that you cannot improve as a person. That maybe you're just not good enough to do so. Of course, my insecurities are definitely nowhere as intense as Jax's is. And I don't try to hide it by being a jerk to everybody so no one talks to me and makes me open up about it. No, obviously, I connect to him because I can partially understand how he feels. And I can understand how he became who he is. And before anyone misunderstands what I'm saying, no, I'm not excusing Jax's actions because of his trauma. Understanding someone isn't the same thing as justifying them. What makes Jax interesting isn't that he's secretly a good person, is that you can clearly see how years of fear, insecurity, and self-hatred slowly turn him into someone who pushes everyone away before they ever get the chance to get close to him. I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, even if only on a much smaller scale. Most of us know what it's like to pretend we're okay when we're not, to convince ourselves that we can't change, to believe that opening up will only make things worse. That's why this part worked so well for me. But I know some people will still prefer another kind of conclusion for Jax. I can understand, everybody has their opinions and their tastes, and maybe this conclusion to the character just didn't do it for you. That's totally fine. Anyway, this part is beautiful. The lighting, the music, the camera angles all work together to make this experience unforgettable. Easily one of my favorite parts of this entire episode. Now, we finally get to the ending. Kane somehow is able to return to the circus, and for some reason, the characters easily accept him back. There is no conflict when it comes to this, and it just feels a bit off. I guess you could say that maybe the group noticed how much they actually needed Kane to maintain the circus. I don't know, it's just really fast how they get in terms with him being back again. Also, right after he gets accepted back, he decides to show the characters how their real life selves are doing. And at the same time, this feels like a wholesome moment, because everyone in real life is doing well. It can also be a really disturbing moment. I mean, think about it. You are forever stuck in this digital world where you can never truly die, while there's a real you who is living life like you always wanted to. I thought a lot about this for a while, but then I came to a conclusion that the characters, along with Kane, can still make a happy and comfortable life inside the circus. With all kinds of adventures that the characters actually want to participate, Kane now actually wanting to learn what it is to be human and make peace with those he tormented, and just overall, everyone living in harmony and trying to make the circus a better place. Having this realization, I can understand why the characters didn't react badly to Kane showing their real life counterparts. I mean, part of the episode was everyone coming to terms that they are stuck in this game, but their lives inside this world is still meaningful to each other, and they can still make this place their home. Anyway, after this, we have a very wholesome montage of all the characters, including Kane, going in adventures that they actually want to participate in, learning new things with each other, helping the abstracted calm down and rest, having fun and making this place the best it can be. And at the last scene, we see Pomni once again. She waves at the camera and leaves the shot, ending the show. I really enjoyed these last few scenes. Genuinely don't have any problems with them, which goes to show that this episode isn't all bad. It is great in a lot of moments, and that's ultimately why this finale leaves me so conflicted. I genuinely love so many of its emotional moments. The relationship between the characters, Jax's story, Pomni's growth, Kinger once again proving why he's one of the best characters in the series. None of that is the problem. The problem is that the story simply needed more room to breathe. Too many important ideas are introduced only to be rushed, underdeveloped, or left completely unexplained. And that's why when the credits rolled, I wasn't disappointed because the ending was bad. I was disappointed because I could clearly see the incredible finale this show almost became. Okay, before I finish this video, I just want to say that this video isn't supposed to be offensive to gooseworx. I just wanted to share my opinion with you guys, and I still love this show. I still really respect her work, and I'm really happy that now she's able to, rest and get away from all the craziness that happened during the production of the show. Especially with the fans. So, I understand her work here. I respect it, and I still love everything that she did here. I just wish there was a better conclusion. But what we got wasn't bad, not even close to bad. So I'm still happy that we were able to see the end of the show, even if it wasn't the best end. It wasn't the most, the best finale, the best conclusion. I can still appreciate what we got. And that's it. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and yeah, do all the good things. See you guys in the next video.